Welcome to It's Settled with Stefanie L. My name is Stefanie, and I'm here today with Samantha.
Hello, everyone.
Hey, Sam. We have gigantic cups.
We do. The basic ladies of America right here.
So I actually sent my daughter a picture of this, and I said, does this make me look like one of those drunk brunch moms? And she
said yes.
She was like, no, a bottle of champagne in your hand would make you look like a drunk brunch mom. And I was like, thanks, that's valid. Yeah. But I've drank way more water since I've had one of those.
That's what I was telling Matthew. That's why I have this.
Exactly.
Forces me to drink water every day.
Yeah, instead of Diet Coke and poisoning my kidneys and all of that good stuff.
Yep.
So, you and I think we're so much alike. I was thinking about that, and I do know, I was like, maybe people who like mortgage have certain traits in common, because I was like, we love pressure washing things. Is that
a lot?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, those kind of go hand in hand, because I was like, what is it about certain women who have this obsession with pressure washing? There is a TikTok channel. Did you know this? That shows people removing grime.
It's therapeutic to me.
Yeah.
Like to see I guess it's the instant gratification.
Yeah.
I like it.
Yes. So Mackenzie actually sent us a link. There's a whole TikTok channel, and the pressure washers that climb walls and go around and get off all the gunk.
Mm-hmm.
They actually have an entire channel where you can watch that to relax.
Huh.
Yeah. I feel like it kind of just gives me a sense of control.
Yeah.
Like,
I guess that I did want to start a business at one point. I told Matthew, I was like, if I could do anything, I think I want to go start a pressure washing business.
well, if it doesn't work out for us in mortgage,
We can team up.
Oh, for sure. Like I told Krista, we could be an amazing private investigator team.
100%. I think that's why I enjoyed underwriting so much.
Yes.
Is because it was my way of investigating people's lives without having to carry a weapon. Like,
Right. Yes.
Really dig into someone and, feel like, ooh, I have really solved the case or
Exactly.
the puzzle in this, scenario.
Well, it's the same kind of logic. It is. Investigative work, you start with the facts. So it's the same thing if you're underwriting a file. What are the facts? These are the fixed things that I can't change. And how do I make these scenarios work together?
Right.
Issue an approval. Because it is the same thing. You're being investigated. How you look on paper. And the biggest thing, and what I try to explain to people, is they don't understand the purpose of underwriting. And it's just to make sure that all the information that you as a borrower have told us up front matches the documentation that you've provided, and it's all vetted.
Correct.
So you might tell us that you're a polar bear groomer and you make $10,000 a month. But we got to see proof of that.
Exactly.
And we also realize that if you're relocating from Alaska, your business is going to really shift in Arkansas because you're not going to have any clients if you're a polar bear.
Not going to have polar bears. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, because that's another consideration. So that's people always get really freaked out when they hear underwriter, and I think it's because they realize underwriters do have the capacity to deny a loan. But what do you feel like would be that really shouldn't happen unless it's an extreme case?
It shouldn't. Usually by the time that it gets to underwriting, it shouldn't bust.
Exactly.
I think a lot of that depends upon having a good mortgage banker on the front end.
Exactly. And that's super important. And like I said, it goes back to the whole thing of, does what you've provided up front match everything else?
Right.
Because if you are in the process of applying for a mortgage and you want to buy a house, be prepared to answer questions if your documents don't make sense.
Yes.
And it's really important that you provide stuff that has identifying information, and it's not like screenshots of your bank account that might have a random few figures on it, but it does not tell us where the bank is, what your name is. So we need actual bank statements.
Right.
Do you think that that's weird? Like, I think this is crazy because I was raised on pre-debit card times.
Mm-hmm.
So I reconciled bank statements with a pencil and used that little thing on the back of the bank statement. So how many times have you asked the customer for bank statements and they don't know what you're talking about?
A lot of folks cannot produce paper statements.
Right.
Period.
Exactly.
Don't even know how to get them off of their phone.
Right. And that's just that's like a thing that's becoming kind of a thing of the past.
Right.
For instance, a lot of banks will charge you to send you paper statements now. So if you are a younger generation person, you may have always had online stuff and you don't have paper statements.
Right.
But just know that is a different thing than taking a screenshot of your balance on your phone.
Yeah. And I'm the world's worst millennial, I think. Like, I was at the bank the other day and the gentleman, I was like, I need to get my $500 off of my Cash App. And he was like,
Sam,
did you accept it? And I was like, well, I think I did. I got a notification. Anyways, he was teaching me, the teller was teaching me how to accept Cash App money.
Yeah.
So it was more than just $500 I had sitting there. I apparently had failed to accept it was like $800 that I had just sitting there.
Oh my gosh.
So yeah, surprise! I was like, heck yeah. So
now, next you need to get a Venmo, and you need to put your Venmo on your car. You know, like the people who are getting married do. Like, Venmo me $10.
It's too
on our
much.
honeymoon.
Look, I have Cash App and PayPal, and I can do no more. That's it. I'm out.
My mom got set up with Venmo because she likes to yard sale, and it is on like a pot of neck bones now.
See, I couldn't even yard sale if that were the case. Like, if that's the world that we've gone to,
yeah,
I'm out. I can't even show up at your yard sale because I don't Venmo folks.
It's really weird. It is so weird. And like kids, well, you know, teenagers and early 20-somethings, that's all they do. So if they go out and then they'll get the receipt, they'll be like, you owe me $7.85, and then everybody will Venmo to whoever paid. But there's like a rule, you have to Venmo me before we get up from the table.
Right.
Because you will never pay me back.
So do you still carry a checkbook? Yeah, same.
On my body. Or
Yes.
in my bag.
I can produce you a check right this
That's
second.
right, because what if I'm broken down on the side of the road? And I'm like, there's no ATM, but I can write you a check.
I am 33 years old, guys, and I do not Venmo.
Well, the only reason I got a Venmo is because, like, I think there was some service. I know what it was. Our dog guy that was training our dog, that's how he accepted payment. So we had set up for Venmo.
Yeah,
Yeah.
same. That's the only reason I Cash App. My interior designer requires Cash App.
Yes. And there are certain people that's how they run their business, and that's their preferred method of payment. So it's just like some of the stuff blows my mind with technology because, you know, you just saw me sitting here I came here with all of this equipment, 2 pairs of headphones and 2 microphones, yet none of them would work for me.
Yeah. I mean, completely. I was super impressed when I walked in. I was like, oh, dang. So
I'm so depressed about it though, because after all that wasted time and energy, I'm just recording this on the iPad. But anyway, what do you think? So now you moved from underwriting and you're working on the front lines and you're originating in mortgage. So what do you think's the best part of it? The best part, and what was the worst about the sales?
So the best part for me for sales is the customer interaction again.
Yeah.
That was a piece that I was missing. When you are the underwriter on a transaction, you're the most hated person in the transaction because you have nothing to do with the collection of the data and talking with the client and any of that. But then you are blamed for every fault that happens along the way. So although you're this invisible figure in the transaction, everyone hates you. And so I think, that really was kind of like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Really affected me, I think.
Right.
And you work alone.
Yeah.
So I was really missing that customer interaction. So I'm happy to have that back. And then the other thing is just kind of the flexibility of schedule. And I feel like that is something that COVID created, is like everybody's starting to see that flexibility in a 8 to 5 schedule is very important.
It is.
I think it's changed our workforce completely.
Has. I think that is one of the positive things of COVID, because I've known, like, my entire life, I'm most productive when I can choose when and where I do my work. And having that freedom and that flexibility is great.
Right.
Because, like coming from banking several years ago, you had to be in that office physically, and it was very difficult because to actually get customers out, you got to be out making sales calls and interacting. Because sitting in an office, look at the people just floating through these walls.
Yeah.
So it makes sense. But I do love that that's kind of been a game changer, and it lets people have more time with their kids, do whatever, spend their personal time however they want, which that's a lot of fun.
Yeah. I think the other biggest difference, and probably the piece of it that didn't really occur to me until afterwards, is just your inability to shut off.
Yes.
And so, you've got some borrowers that work till 7:00, although my typical schedule wouldn't be picking up the phone at 7, like that's what works best for them.
Right.
And so I need to accommodate. And same thing for vacations, probably won't be taking any more cruises to Alaska where I'm like completely off the grid.
Yeah. I'm telling you, like, especially during the super busy years, man, vacation anxiety is a real thing.
It is.
It is. And if you are like, if you're a high intensity person, you can't just like shut that off, because I feel like an obligation and a responsibility to these people and to the things that are in motion.
Exactly.
Like, I can't just not care about the things I have ownership of.
Right. And that's my thing is I do own it. Like this is mine. I shouldn't have to have anybody else pick it up for me. Like I want to make sure I carry it to the finish line.
Yes. And that's a great thing, because it makes you really good at your job. And that's like that, that's that self-motivation. You either have it or you don't, because that's not something that you can create in people. Some people need help finding it if they do have it. But that's a great attribute. At the same time, it can be very punishing to you.
Exactly.
To not have that separation, because there were times, I think I logged 60 hours some weeks when we were, in the midst of pandemic, 7 days a week, and you got to have a break at some point.
For sure.
So, like you're starting to see squirrels run across the front of your face, and you're like, was that real, or is it really inside my home?
Exactly.
Yeah. We had a bird fly in our house one time, and that was ridiculous.
What kind of bird was it?
I think it was just like a sparrow. It was on the wreath on our front door. And at our old house, we had like a cathedral ceiling that went up. It was like a little balcony thing. And that bird was having the time of its life.
Oh, no.
Flying all over. Blake was working nights at that point, and the kids were little. And I'm like, we're never going to get this bird out of here. And, the kids are screaming, and then they're like, it pooped.
Oh, no. See, I think I guess they're barn swallows.
Yeah. Oh, those
I don't know if
they're horrible.
Do you have them where you're at?
We do.
Okay, so we're, wide open hayfield. Yes. Those are out to, like, get me. I hate those things.
Now, if you got area where they can fly around on a whole bunch of trees, they'll come and build in your eaves and on your porches. Yeah.
I created the perfect front porch for them. And so basically every column that we have, they just perch up. You knock that nest down and they are right back at it, just 2 minutes later.
You know what else is like the most industrious beating that I've ever witnessed? Are freaking dirt daubers.
Yes.
I mean, talk about work ethic.
For sure.
I mean, I'll knock down a dirt dauber nest. Next morning, they've got it built back.
Oh, yeah.
And they're buzzing in there. And I'm like, look, if these dirt daubers can stay up all night carrying mud, what am I griping about?
Exactly. I know. But there are some days where, like, just that mindless activity, I think would be kind of nice.
Yes, exactly.
Like, what would it be like to be a cow? Just sit around and eat grass all day.
I know.
They don't have to think about anything.
So I got ridiculed for this, but I ordered some plants on Amazon, and they were live starter plants. And so one day I'm sitting there and I started thinking, I bet you they're really hot in that box. It's summertime, and I bet you they are hot and miserable. And I was like, because they are living things,
right?
So it's not.
Did you repot them?
I did. I ripped them. I pulled them out of that box as soon as they got home. But I'm really glad to hear that you have also thought about, like, what would it be like to be a cow? That would be the life.
Yeah, it really would.
You'd have 7 stomachs. You could eat all day long. I mean, if you're a dairy cow, I think that would be the best. If you are a beef cow,
that one would be a short-lived.
You're going to have a really horrible final ride of your life.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which makes me think of, have you ever been over the tracks when a certain place here dumps the guts?
No. They do that? Like from the...
Yes.
Really?
It dumps from the top, from their roof. So this arm thing reaches in.
The entrails?
And it dumps all the guts into the... Yeah. Don't ride in the Bronco on the day that they dump the guts.
Golly.
Yeah, top
I bet you they have a lot of coyotes.
Stench, yes. For sure.
So I grew up on a poultry farm, and we had like a commercial chicken farm. And, this was in the 90s. And so how we would deal with the dead chickens is we take a 5-gallon bucket and you go in there twice a day and you walk the length of this house and you pick dead chickens up. And you keep that 5-gallon bucket by the door, and each time it would get full, you put the bucket on the back of a 4-wheeler and we would drive it off to the edge of the property. And we had like a pile, and then nature would do its thing, and the coyotes were having Thanksgiving.
Wow.
I mean, it was a party for all.
Wow.
And then our serviceman, because they would send out a serviceman like once a month, and he came out and he was like, so the EPA says y'all can't do this anymore. So my parents had to spend mega bucks on a composter.
Well, how is that anymore?
It's not. It isn't, because the composter...
It's a circle of life. Why do you have to...
The composter was literally right there next to the chicken house, and the only difference was the bottom of it was a layer of concrete, but the sides were open, the top was open, and then you would put a layer of chickens chicken carcasses, and then you would put a layer of chicken litter, which I hope I don't have to explain what that is. And then you put a layer of hay, and you stack it like that, and it's supposed to compost faster. And anyway, the EPA was saying that the groundwater was the problem, why you could not dump the chickens on the edge of your property. And then I'm thinking, well, people eat these chickens, so if you can't let it go into the groundwater, you can't eat it either.
Exactly. What's the real...
And this is property that we own. So I was like, this doesn't make sense.
How do you feel that picking up dead chickens affected your childhood? Like,
I feel like it made me impervious to everything.
Yeah. Like, if you can pick up a dead chicken and not get upset about it, like...
And this is the really hilarious part. My best friend, I've been called Samantha my whole life.
Really?
My best friend was Samantha, and we were best friends from 5th grade on up. And 5 years old, kindergarten on up. And she lived right down the road from me on a dirt road. So she would come over, and of course, she was also good friends with my little brother because there were no other kids in the middle of nowhere. So we would play this game called What's That Smell? And what we would do is we would blindfold somebody, spin them around, and take them to a random place on the farm and make them smell something gross. And they'd have to guess what it was. So we blindfolded Sam, spun her around, took her down to the chicken house, and made her smell a bucket of dead chickens that had maggots all over it.
Did she guess correctly?
She knew where we were. And she didn't even flinch when we took off that blindfold. She was mad, but she didn't even flinch.
You're from the country.
I know. And so Blake thinks, he's like, you are so exaggerative, or you're such an exaggerator. And I'm like, I can't help it that a bunch of crazy things have happened.
Yeah.
Like I saw a UFO and really happened. Freaked me out super bad. It was me, my brother's best friend, my parents, and my grandma. And they all saw it.
Oh, wow.
And so now that all of the stuff is coming out, I'm like, what else is true that I need to be freaked out about?
Exactly. Like I told y'all all these years ago.
And all you want to tell me is quit smoking crack. I've always been accused of having a big imagination.
Right.
Did you grow up around any kind of livestock or animals or anything?
No. I take that back. I did. We had 3 cows, not on our land. My dad and my his brother had bought some cows together, and they started out with 3. And I was young enough to not think that these were cows that their ultimate goal was to feed the masses.
You thought these were TikTok cows.
I thought these were cows that we name and we go out and, pet them occasionally. It was Sadie, Jake, and Charlie.
And those are pet names.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so, anyways, my dad was, he was not one for feelings. So, we go out there one day, the cows are not there. And I'm like, what happened? And he's like, you ate them last night. And I was like, oh, well, okay.
Right. Isn't that just a dad thing to say?
Yeah.
I mean, dads are always like, well, it was the truth.
Exactly.
Like,
I think that's why I'm such a realist now.
Yes.
But I'm good with that.
Yeah.
Like, I don't need you to sugarcoat things.
Exactly.
It's just like, give me the facts and I can deal.
And I think that's another thing that growing up in the country is really good for, is because you've got a good sense of that, like you said, the circle of life. Because you see stuff being born, stuff being slaughtered.
Yeah.
You realize, hey, this is going to go be eaten by somebody. And you realize that that's an important part of the economy and how it keeps it all kind of rolling.
Exactly.
So we had cows, and I think I was probably 15. We were going to get up one morning and go drive to Little Rock and go school shopping. And it was 5 o'clock that morning. Sun was barely coming up. And like all night long, I've been hearing a gong in my sleep. Like gong, gong. And so the sun came up and I opened my eyes and I was like, I was really hearing a gong. It's outside. What is happening? So I look out my back window and I can see my dad like way out in the field, and he's chasing a bull, huge bull. And this was, this was like a Charolais bull, I'm pretty sure, or a limousine, a great old big one thing. And we had named this one Sammy Joe. And I'm looking, and this bull has a cart around its neck. And we had this little metal utility cart that we pushed chicken feed in. And somehow this bull had gotten his head under the handle. And he was wearing this cart like a necklace. And so he's walking around all night, and he cannot get this cart off, and his legs are hitting it, and it's like, gone, gone. So my dad's chasing this bull, screaming and cussing, like at the top of his lungs.
Yeah.
The bull runs faster, and he's like, gone, 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 gone. And I mean, this goes on for hours. And I'm like, oh my gosh. So by this time, all of the family is outside.
I was about to say, this is not a one-man job.
No, we're just watching this go down. And we finally get this bull into the pond. And he got that cart about halfway full of water. And it held it still. And he got his head out of there. And then he just went after that thing. And he started headbutting it. He was trying to pulverize it.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, but I was like, nobody would ever believe that story. And if I tell that, they're like, you were making that up.
Right.
Yeah. So we had a lot of crazy things like that I can't see happening living in a city.
Exactly.
You know?
The things that city people miss out on.
I know. Exactly. But you know, we don't live in the city and we miss out on like the crazy people.
Right.
All the hilarious things that I see on TikTok that people catch, it seems like it happens on a bus.
Yes.
It does.
Yeah. City bus.
Yeah. Or a subway. But that can go either way. Because
I was about to say.
Subway is either like you're going to maybe get hurt.
Yeah.
Maybe stabbed.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's funny.
Yeah. I'll take my chances and, you know.
Yeah.
I used to want to live outside of Arkansas. I'm like, I can't take this state.
I was the same way.
And then you go and you see some things and you're like, you know what? Arkansas is not so bad after all.
Oh, I was always like, I'm going to move when I graduate.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. And then you're like, you know, I'm not a city girl. And who am I kidding? Who am I kidding? But it's, I don't know that I would ever be able to drive in horrible traffic and not become like a prisoner for real. For assault or something.
Yes. Yeah.
Because I can't, I reach a point and it's like I've had it with the traffic and the inefficiency.
Yeah.
And you can't help it if you're living in a crowded area.
Kind of like going down Main Street right now.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
We got a 7 Brew that opened up and it is, it's causing quite the traffic jam.
Yeah, so I'm looking into drones to see if I can just like fly a drone to Walmart.
Yeah, that's a great thing about having grown up here because it's like, I know the back roads, suckers.
Yeah, well I do too, but even now the back roads are like.
It's true.
I mean, I haven't taken a main road in this town in 12 years.
My mom drove through town. She was a passenger in my vehicle the other day, and we drove through town, and she's like, did you know that we're getting a Chick-fil-A? And I said, for the last 6 months, sister.
I know.
It's happening.
Yeah, so Skylar was in last weekend, and she hasn't been, through Cabot. She was like, you have a Freddy's? A 7 Brew? You're getting a Chick-fil-A?
Yeah.
I'm like, be quiet. You have all the good places
spoiled
to eat.
rotten. Yeah, up there in Fayetteville.
Yeah. There's all kinds of stuff to do up there. It's like a different world.
It is.
But even I was like, you know what? Who am I kidding? Even if I lived up there, I'd still be in bed at 9 o'clock.
Yeah. Oh, 100%. I'm useless after 8 o'clock.
Yeah.
Absolutely useless. I can't even sit up for a TV show.
Me neither. Not even one episode.
Mm-mm.
No. And I think it's the mental drain that you experience. Because I can wear my brain out faster than I can my body. Not that I'm never going to go running. I'm never even going to push my body to that limit. So I don't know that that's true.
Mm-hmm.
But sometimes I feel like my brain has been through a mental marathon.
I would agree with that.
Yeah.
Because I need to get home and sit and be mindless for at least an hour. I don't want to get up out of this chair for 1 hour completely thoughtless. And then I'll go play with the kids and, make dinner and all the things.
Lucas asked me for a peanut butter sandwich. And I was just looking at him like, with this stupid grin on my face. And he was like, Mom, are you okay? And I was like, son, I'm sorry. I can't even answer a simple question.
Aren't you old enough to make your own peanut butter sandwich?
That he is. He's almost 12. But you'll understand because your son's the youngest.
Oh, yeah. It's something about the second. And I don't even think, I used to think
boys.
Is it boys?
It is boys. Because I had 2 daughters and then I had a son.
Okay.
And I was like, am I doing it wrong?
Right.
Boys are a lot different.
They
don't have interest in being, in my experience, boys don't really want to be independent like girls do at an early age. Mm-hmm. They're cool with letting you do everything for them. Exactly. They're like, nah, I got this. You can do this.
I'm thinking of a certain boy right now, my husband, who would also, he's going to hate me for hearing that. But yeah, no, he does a lot of great things. I'm not denoting that, but like, he is there for, like, he's not going to lift a finger if I'm okay and willing to, cook all the food and all the things.
So. And once you have a son, you will understand your husband 100% because you're like, they are literally born like this. Yeah. And it is their biology. Mm-hmm. So that's helped me to just see Blake like, hey, men and women are different.
Yes.
Like, Blake was asking me something last night and we were talking about, I was relaying a conversation and he was like, no, I need you to tell me verbatim the conversation. And I'm like, okay, well, so they said this and then they said that. Wait, so what did that mean? I'm like, I don't know. I can't like replay it. I can give you the gist of the feel.
Right.
And I'm like, what? And he's like, you just need to have this information.
No, here's the deal. I can't remember what I did 5 seconds ago, much less a conversation I may or may not have had that day or the previous day.
Me neither. And I wake up all the time thinking it's like a different day. Mm-hmm. My days get confused too. Am I the only person that happens to?
I feel like that, is that a work from home thing, do you think? I felt like that as an underwriter when I was working from home. I'd wake up and it's just like, I don't know if it was the monotony of the...
Maybe. I think maybe it's like, sometimes my days don't feel like they have a definite end.
Yes.
If I don't have some kind of a winding down procedure, like you were saying, then I feel like I have never gotten out of multitasking work mode into pajamas, couch mode. You know? You got to have that process.
For sure. I realized working from home, and I've said this to a couple people, working from home, I realized how important the shower was. And no judgment, like I shower every day, but like I would get up and just go sit in my office and then I'd look up and I'd be like, it's 2:00 and I don't remember if I've brushed my teeth.
Exactly. Because you get up, you go straight to your computer. And here's my thing. I'm like, oh, it's 7:00. I'm just going to check a few emails real quick, and then I'll like get ready for the day.
Yep.
And then before I know it, it's 10 a.m. I've been there for 3 hours. I've eaten nothing, but I've had 7 cups of coffee.
Yes.
And I look like Medusa on crystal meth.
And here's the deal. You're working so much harder from home. Like, I worked my tail off when I worked at the house.
Yeah, because you're simultaneously doing chores.
Yep.
So you may be like, I've got all of this stuff to do. I have these reports. I have this. Now I've also got 5 loads of laundry, and I'm going to put a roast in the crock pot.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know that men deal with that same mentality. Like, I can't imagine like Mark Cuban sitting in a boardroom making a list of groceries.
Exactly. All the things that he needs to do and
or being like, oh my gosh, I have to find red Spanx for my daughter's cheerleading on Amazon by tomorrow.
Yes.
You know, so those are the things that I think make women really good at the business sector. But like, you know, we can overload ourselves because of that.
Right.
Because men can focus on, like, they can get so intense on what they're doing, 100% zero in on that. It's just that we think that we can do that simultaneously and be the best at it while nothing falls.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
There's a lot of pressure.
It is.
It's a lot of pressure, and I think, you know, social media has intensified that for women. You know, like, I remember the milestone pictures when my kids were babies. It was like the 1 month, 2 month, and I was like, who said I have to do this?
Exactly.
Do I really care what they looked like at 9 months?
Yeah.
Like, I know a generalized what they look like as a baby, and do I really need to know more?
And your memories for them. And like, you know, my mom never took a picture of me with a 6-month circle by my face.
No. And
but
you turned out just fine.
Yeah, and I think she knows what I look like as a baby. And I do too. I've got pictures of myself as a baby.
Yep.
But I've noticed the same thing, because it's like social media has made this post it or it didn't happen mentality.
Right.
And then, like, if you're not posting your life on Facebook or Instagram, it's like you don't exist.
Yep.
So I guess I don't exist.
Yeah.
Because I got so mentally fatigued trying to keep up with my family's updates and posting things on Facebook. And then I realized I'm not engaging with people in real life.
Exactly.
This is not real. This is a bunch of code on an app.
Exactly.
So I really kind of stepped back from social media. Now I use it mainly as a tool for business and networking. It is amazing.
Yes.
But you're right. Social media has made a lot of pressure, and people feel like they don't realize that it's a filtered, best case version of everybody and what they want to present.
Exactly. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. I would love an influencer to get on there and be like, hey guys,
let's cut out all the social media.
so today I've had really bad diarrhea. You know, and like it was just a really rough night, and I had a check that bounced. I want somebody to get on there and tell, like, this is the worst day as an influencer. You tell me your real stories.
Exactly.
Because one time, and you'll jive with this, you'll understand, because I've had horrible skin problems my whole life. I had to take all kinds of stuff. So there was this girl about 10 years ago, and she did a foundation tutorial, and it went viral because she had like horrible cystic acne. Couldn't see it at all. She went on live and took off all her makeup and showed everybody how she did her face.
Wow.
And I was like, I love you, because I've never seen anybody with a face like mine.
Yes.
And the coolest thing was, after she did that, she actually got a modeling contract. So, yeah. So I think stuff like that, and when people are okay just to be like,
this is me.
This is normal. This is real life.
Right.
And it's harder, especially when your daughter will get to be older. That's the hard thing, is girls can get a lot of pressure about that appearance and presenting yourself a certain way.
Yep.
And it's exhausting if you're having to put on a front.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. It's sad that it's come to that. But
it really has. Yeah. But I think if everybody could just like get a cow, you know, or a farm animal, like a llama,
right,
an ostrich even.
Yes, exactly.
I'll tell my kids sometimes, like, you need to go outside and touch some grass. You know.
We took my husband took my son today to the doctor over headaches, and who knows if he's really having them. He's 3, but like this has been kind of a consistent thing. So it's like, okay, maybe we ought to look into that. Yeah. And she was like, how much screen time? And I was like, never. He won't sit still. He lives outside. And anyways, probably most likely allergies leading to headaches, that kind of thing. But anyways,
yeah. Well, that's good that there's 0 screen time.
Yes.
I mean, that's unheard of.
Well, sometimes it's like, would you please watch this movie so that I could get a load of laundry done? But like, no, it is, you know, on to the next activity, you know.
So when Lucas was like 4, he's always been obsessed with sports and football in particular. So he got to where he would go and watch old football games, like from the 80s. And then he would give me a play-by-play.
Right. And
it was hilarious because he would talk about all these, you know, players like from the 49ers. And I didn't have the heart to tell him that was like a whole long time ago, you know.
He's out here talking about all these older players, thinking that he's...
Well, he's always loved Joe Montana, you know. But it was really cute because he was watching them like they were live games.
That's awesome.
It was some kind of old vintage channel he found.
I love
cute.
it.
It was on Dish Network, I think they have like old replays.
Nice. I've noticed, like, as football season gets closer, you know, we're starting to kind of slowly, I don't know, see the older, they're playing like replays of like previous years and stuff. So
Yeah.
gearing up for everybody getting ready for football, which
Yeah.
I'm excited for. But I will tell y'all, all the folks looking for all the cooler weather, like, I'm here, I'm perfectly fine with walking out the door and sweating my tail off. Like, I live for the summer seasons.
Me too. Like, I'm starting to get nervous because the days are getting shorter, and I know winter's coming, and I can't handle it. If I cannot, I've got to have so many hours of sun exposure a day.
Agreed. It legitimately affects my mood.
It does me too. I was telling Skylar that. I was like, you need to spend more time outside. It's science. Look it up. So I really don't like cold either, but I really don't like super hot weather. Yeah. But I would prefer to be hot over cold.
100%.
Yeah.
It physically hurts my body.
It does me too. Because it makes me imagine that my bones are frozen.
Yes.
Does that make sense? Like when you can imagine your bones are frozen, it just causes some kind of pain.
Right. I agree.
Yeah, it does. So, let's see here. I hope we're still recording because I haven't checked this in a while. But, oh my gosh, we are. Look at that. We've gone almost to 45 minutes.
All right.
Well, I guess we should probably be wrapping this up because I know you've probably got actual work to do. And I do too, believe it or not. So, yeah.
Hey, even given the market, people are still buying houses. So
they are. And that's the great thing about it. So it's a crazy time out there, but I'm glad that we have a job that we enjoy doing, and we have something that we get out of that's pretty rewarding, which is help people move into houses.
100%.
So, all right. Well, thanks everybody. And once again, this was Samantha, and I'm Stefanie, and we'll talk to you next time.
See ya.